Hello and welcome to another episode of M and BH Offline, where we take a step back and discuss our best moments, future plans, and anything else from our favorite game. I'm Chamu, and this is my co-host.
BH. And we're back at it again.
We're back at it. Yeah, we've got more episodes. Woo. This one is a bit of a harder one.
Bit of a doozy, yeah.
Yeah, it's not going to be as lighthearted as usual, I feel like.
Mm.
But I think it's very valuable. That's what we were chatting about before.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're talking about the it's kind of fitting because our first episode we were just saying was reflecting on the season 1 of Backyard, and we're kind of reflecting on how it didn't go as planned, how it kind of it ended a bit. And so yeah, we're reflecting on running that long-term series in the specific context of Backyard. So what kind of defines a long-term series? It's very usually SMP content for Minecraft related. A lot of SMP stuff with at least smaller creators, ones that aren't quite full-time, don't often go well. We did hope, or at least I did, I don't know about you, but I hoped that Backyard was going to be one of the exceptions. But, you know, stuff happens.
Yeah, like absolutely. So when we kind of look at a long-term series, you think of like a SMP, and it's a group of Minecraft creators or a group of creators that they play on a server together. So it might be like, a 6-month or a year-long server where people are building bases, they're making videos about what they're doing, and they're just in generally just kind of a space to have fun, usually a friend group. And you'll have expectations of like, we want more people to know about our server, to watch our content, and to enjoy what we do. So today, we're kind of doing a little recap of, or kind of looking at what season 1 was, what season 2 was, and what were the issues that we faced, what actually happened, and why we decided to have a little hiatus or finish it off after season 2.
Yeah. So we had a pretty successful. I'm also, just for context for everybody here, I'm specifically saying we on kind of like the behalf of Backyard. It's not really a we as if, BH and I both owned the server. I'm like a spokesperson, representative, if you will. We had a pretty successful season 1. A lot of people we just met, most of us, and we got along quite well. It was a lot of fun. I liked season 1 a lot, and I think a lot of people did. How did you find season 1?
Yeah, season 1 does it has a very soft spot in my heart. It was very much like everything that I wanted, and it was everything that I really expected to come out of it, even more. Like, it was a group of, I think we had 23 members in season 1, all of which that there was like 2 people that knew each other prior to this whole thing happening. And like, I reached out to a bunch of people really like just in hopes that they would be happy to try, and there was a bunch of them that did, and it went really, really well. Like, we made lots of good friends, people got into some major events, and we all grew as creators, which is really cool.
Yeah, creators and friends as well.
Yeah.
We felt very connected.
Yeah.
But basically, like, the Backyard overall, for people who aren't familiar, we did do a first episode on this like podcast one, reflecting on the first season. It was very high hopes, like very positive as well going into the second season. But overall, like, the Backyard was just a group of friends. We had quite a few people that had very different content styles and wanted to, like, the plan was basically to continue with whatever content styles you were doing, and but just do it like multiplayer. So, some people were doing long play stuff or building videos or more lore-based videos like you.
Yeah.
And that was just the plan, to like continue that kind of idea, but just on a server as like a little content group.
Yeah, and like that was the pitch that I reached out to everyone being like, yo, I know that you're doing, your single player stuff or you're doing your hardcore stuff. And it's like, I would love for you to do that just on a multiplayer server. If you want to interact with other people, you're more than welcome to. If you just want to sit and do your own thing on the server, that is totally cool as well. but yeah, we had a really successful season one, as Em said. And then season two rolled around about the start of 2024. We introduced a bunch of new creators, a handful of them, and it kind of we had really, really high expectations. And we went into the season thinking, oh, this is gonna be the year. This is gonna be like, we're gonna do really well. We're gonna like everyone's gonna build these really cool bases. We're gonna have really successful videos. And like we even went into the server planning more than season one. Season one, we literally like I set up a server, I set the seed, and no one knew what it was. Like no one had plans. And we got on, we built bases that weren't planned. I remember logging on and being like, oh, the only other person online is Lumble. I'm gonna go build close to him because he's the only person online. And that's why I set my base up where it was. When we moved into season two, we actually planned what the seed was going to be. We knew what we were going to build before the season had even started. And we also had an audience that knew what was going on before the season started. We had people that were expecting things from us.
Yeah. No, there was a lot more planning. We had little like land claims and things like that as well.
Hmm.
And that was also the thing, at least from what I saw, it was more of like an idea to try.
Yeah.
It was very on the fence for a while whether it
Hmm.
was going to be kind of known or land claimed, and it ended up happening.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was a lot more planning. You said stuff about expectations as well. There was a lot of hype for it. People were very excited.
Hmm.
Uh, and also with the new creators that we brought in, I feel like it wasn't quite like the idea of how the backyard works, which is, continue with your own content just on multiplayer.
Hmm.
I It might not have been, or it wasn't translated well to them,
Yeah.
because I think a lot of people had different, or a lot of the newer creators had different expectations of what the server and how it was run and how people interacted with each other.
Yeah.
There was some differences.
Yeah. And there's lots of conversations about like boundaries as well, which is obviously a good thing to kind of understand about each other. But even stuff like we had land claims that were so set that it was like you're not allowed to build in someone else's land claim. Whereas season one, it
Yeah.
was like, just build wherever you want. And
Yeah.
whether or not either of those are a good or bad idea, I can't say. But that's something that
Yeah.
I think also contributes to feeling a bit more restricted with what you're doing.
Yeah, definitely. It was a bit different with how the season started and
Hmm.
how it kind of felt
Yeah.
as it began. But yeah, we did have issues later on, or pretty early on in the
Hmm.
season, and we did like there was a lot of things, especially that we were all trying to like collaborate to find solutions to problems that we found that existed. One of the main ones was like we wanted to do some more meetings because we found that the meetings weren't as regular,
Hmm.
and they probably should have been.
Yeah.
And we I think the more meetings as well was also because we found it kind of like the activity of the server, like less and less people
Yeah.
started to join up.
Yeah. Like in season one, we had a meeting every maybe 2 months, roughly.
Yeah.
And they
Yeah.
were really just like, oh, like what's happening on the server? What do we want to do? What do we like? What's really working? What's not working? What are people planning on doing with their content? But then season two was more about like, what are we doing on the server? How are we like branding ourselves? How are we reaching out? How are we like? It was much more business focused, which
Yeah.
I think did put more pressure on the people who were making content, but also weren't making content. And I think
Mhm.
if you were not making content and you were seeing all of this talk about, we want to build a business and have a brand identity, then just like playing Minecraft. And that is it's a difficult spot to be in because you do have people that are wanting to be there just to have fun, and people that are there to like get to like build their own self and build their brand and build the backyard's brand, which can cause conflict. So not like conflict, but like just a feeling of there's a group of people that really want to do stuff, and there's also a group of people that are just there to hang out.
Yeah, well, like you were saying before, feels more like restricted or boundaries, like it felt like more walls were kind of, or
Mm,
rifts were being put towards just from, you know, the differing ideas that were quite
yeah,
like opposite between, you know, a group of people on the server and another group of people on the server. It
yeah,
just lots of people with opinions, which is great. We love people with opinions,
mm,
but it did cause conflicts, you know, that were struggling to be resolved. So we were trying to do things like more meetings or
yeah.
more collaborations and kind of promote more activity on the server.
Mm. And so when we kind of got from the start of the season and we were like kind of figuring out where we were going, midway through the season, there was feedback that was like, oh, okay, well, we want to put in, yeah, more meetings, but also I think people felt, and this is from like a owner's perspective. So I was definitely, I was the owner of Backyard, and I could see that the feedback I was getting was that people also want to feel like they are having input into the server, whereas season one, a lot of the decisions were made by me. In season two, people were wanting to like feel more that everything was a group decision. So that meant making each decision, whether it was a major or minor decision, was something that was put out to the group as a poll, and the members would react to it, say yes or no. And if it was a majority or a like everyone says yes, then the change would be implemented. Um, how did you feel about that change, Em?
I feel, I think looking back on it, it does, I can see how that caused a lot of rifts. And there were quite a few, you know, even smaller, just not arguments, but, you know, like conflicts, I guess, use that word a lot, but just between people because, you know, someone voted for something and someone didn't, or
Mm,
half the people voted on something and half the people didn't. And it
yeah,
caused, I don't know, being able to see what people's opinions on it. And I guess having a poll as well kind of stopped a lot of the discussion
yeah,
because, you know, if someone said no but didn't have the chance to elaborate as to why or, you know, even discuss reasoning,
yeah,
I think that
yeah,
caused problems. I understand why season one as well was, you know, like own a decision, just
yeah.
like a one person because everyone was new.
Hmm, hmm.
Nobody was quite aware of like how the backyard was running,
Yeah,
like what, you know, what the plans were, what the goals were, what people were going to get out of it. But as season two rolled around and everybody had that idea of like, oh, okay, we kind of know where the server's going. So, you know, we're more connected and we want to have, you know, more of a group decision, more of a council kind
yeah,
of thing. But it kind of, it did cause problems as well. I saw like a lot of different conflicts, especially between people who were more active on the server and people who weren't, and
yeah,
not being able to have that discussion with each other.
yeah,
I think that like a majority and like a voting type stuff is great, but it has to be paired with discussion. I
yeah,
feel like a lot of the conflict stuff that happened occurred because people weren't, a lot of miscommunication. That's the word I was
yeah,
looking for. A lot of miscommunication and misunderstandings between people.
yeah. No, that totally makes sense. And like, I get what you mean by like, first scene is like own a decision helps to keep things on track. And I think when you open it up to like everyone can make a major decision on the server as long as it's like a group, like a group decision in the end, it gives, it can make the kind of goal, not goal, but like how the perspective of the server can shift. And like, what the end goal of the actual group might be. Whereas like, the first season we were like, okay, we just want to be making content and we want to be having fun. And then season two kind of came around and people had a lot more major ideas on what they want to do on the server. and what they want to do
Yeah.
with their content, and being able to kind of start that with the intention of like, I want to propose this to the group and then have it changed. And if things don't go well, then it kind of like, oh, now people are like going against what I'm saying. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
definitely difficult.
Yeah. And again, I think a lot of it was just a lack of discussion. Like, if
Mm,
you very like uh what do you call it? Small idea for it, but like, if you have someone who really loves the color purple and then another person who loves the color blue and hates the color purple,
mm,
and you're doing a poll and like, what color should the room be painted, and people just get to say yes or no,
yeah.
or like blue, sorry, blue or purple. If people just see like, oh, well, she voted blue but I like purple, like,
Mm,
why has that happened?
yeah.
Whereas if it was a discussion that said, hey guys, like, looking at painting the room, like, what color?
Yeah.
And then someone could put their, oh, I like purple because of this reason, I think it'll be a good idea for this reason. And then someone could put their other opinion in. It can be more of a discussion. People can, it builds a lot of connection as well
Yeah.
for a lot of the decisions. People can understand different perspectives. And as you said, with a lot of people coming into the season with different ideas, I
Mm,
think it was especially with like, the handful of newer members that came in and the ideas of the backyard weren't made clear.
yeah. Yeah.
So when they were going into voting, it was
Yeah, absolutely.
under different pretense or under different ideas than, what the rest of like the older the members of the server were.
The OG members.
The
Um,
OGs.
yeah, and I think we also, so when we were looking at new members for season 2, a lot of the people that we did invite had previously joined the server for a thing called Playdate, which is where we got invited guests to come on to the server, and we had like a little event that kind of show like we just got to collaborate with new people, and it was a way for us to collaborate with people outside of our server without actually like bringing them onto the server like permanently. And I
Yeah.
think although it's like I thought it was a great way to bring people onto the server and introduce them, I can see why that would shift the expectation of someone joining onto the server, because the playdates were so much fun. And I think you'll agree with me there. They were some of the best times on the server, but it's not reflective of what the actual server is every day. It's very,
Yeah.
very, very different. Like those playdates were planned for weeks with
Very
invites,
organized.
and everyone was online for the specific 2 hours. And then outside of that, it was just, people were really online just doing their own thing most of the
Yeah.
like most of the time. It was just like you'd be online doing your own thing, and like you'd run into someone once or twice a week. So I think that shifts an expectation of someone joining onto the server to go, oh, like this is what I want my everyday to look like, but that's just
Yeah.
realistically not going to happen. Like not going to happen.
Yeah. Absolutely. No, I definitely agree. And I think as well, like, kind of moving on from the topic, but still staying with it, with the expectations of, more activity and like a larger planned experience for
Hmm.
newer creators, it did make it hard as well when a large group of us weren't on because we all went to TwitchCon.
Yeah.
So, it was great fun at TwitchCon. We got to meet everyone and have a good time. But as for the other half of the server that was still there, it was like a good chunk of people were just not online
Yeah.
for, a
Yeah.
month and a bit. So
Exactly. Like
it was,
there was a
yeah,
very core group of people that had obviously gone away and were off the server for quite a while, which meant like we already had a bit of an inactive issue, which just kind of further like demonstrated that gap that really like kind of made it difficult for people to like maintain motivation on the server, especially if you're the
yeah,
only one online, then it's really hard to feel included as a group if no one else is online. And that definitely was one of the bigger issues that caused a lot of people to kind of start distancing themselves from the server. So we definitely had members leave. we had members leave at the start, but
Yeah.
also like once this inactivity like increased, then people started to leave the server permanently. And I think that just became a bit of a snowball effect where, one person might leave, and then another person that might be feeling a little bit that same way might go, oh, well, I feel the same way. Maybe I'll leave as well, which it definitely made a
Yeah.
snowball effect.
And I think as well, like, all the people that left had their own reasons. And,
Hmm.
even the people that kind of started like snowball or it started to go, they all had, different reasons, specific reasons. And they were completely valid for
Yeah,
wanting to go.
absolutely.
But it is, in an early season with a bunch of new people and you're seeing new people leave.
Yeah.
It's like walking into a room with like a bunch of other people and then another person walking to a room and then them leaving straight after. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't show confidence in the server.
Yeah.
Causes
Absolutely.
a lot of
And so,
unsureness. And I think that was a big thing. A lot of people didn't feel very confident, especially as things started to spiral down a bit.
yeah.
People were losing a lot of confidence in the server.
Yeah. They had lost the faith that we weren't going to achieve the goals that we wanted to at the start of the season. And
Yeah.
like Em and I, we were both there from start to finish. We were there the entire time. And one thing that really hurt motivation was seeing dead bases. Like,
Yeah.
especially where my base was, and I don't know how it was for you, but where my base was, I was surrounded by people that had started to leave the server, and it was like you'd log online and I'd be working my base, and in the corner of my eye I'd see a base of someone that had left, and that base was never going to get finished. It was never going to develop. It was never going to change. It was just like a ghost town, and it just like
Yeah.
it really ruined motivation.
Yeah. It was, I mean, it was sad to
Yeah,
see it.
yeah, absolutely. Like you spend so much time having really good fun with these people, and then to see them go is like I definitely felt like I was grasping at strings that were disappearing, like they were falling through my hands, and I was trying to keep it together, trying to keep friends together and like keep the group together, and it was like, if you're trying to hold sand and it just falls through your hands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, as a like server member as well, I did, it was upsetting to see a lot of the, good friends that I had made on the server just, go.
Yeah.
it it's not it wasn't great to see. Like
Mm.
obviously I understand why people leave, but it does hurt a lot of motivation even for the more core or
Yeah.
dedicated group of people who are on the server. You see good friends that you've made start to go. It's hard to like want to log on to a server.
Yeah.
It's like going to your group of friends' favorite spot, when all of your friends have left town.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah. Just that sense
it's
of like
not good
I
fun.
know that it was better, and it's
Yeah.
just kind of slowly disappearing, which is just it's really hard. It's hard to maintain motivation. And we also had a few like interpersonal connection issues between some of the members, which did further like lengthen that gap, which made it harder for people to get online, and yeah, made people feel like they had better places to go to.
Yeah, and it caused a bit of a rift. Like there was a lot of there were a few different issues. We're not going to go into it.
Yeah.
We're not going to go into them too much, just or at all, really, just due to privacies. But that was definitely a contributing factor.
Yeah.
I think, it was already a losing confidence, and then a lot of tension builds.
Mm,
It was, what they
yeah.
say, like a recipe for disaster. It
Yeah.
was everyone was kind of everyone had kind of started to expect that it would end, and
Yeah.
when people started to expect it was going to end, that's
Yeah.
where people's mind was.
Yeah. It makes it it's almost like when you get into that situation, you almost have decided before you've even decided to leave that that's like the next step, like
Yeah.
it just becomes, you've already decided what the next step is before anything even happens. So we
Yeah.
got to the
Just
end
wait.
of all of this, before the end of the season, and it was just like there was no motivation. That we had such a like high expectations that weren't met. We had lots of people leave, and it just left with no motivation to keep going. And there was some interest to keep like suggestions to go into season 3, but there was just no interest to really push for it, which is really, really
Yeah.
upsetting, especially like it was such a I loved Backyard. It was so fun to
Ye-
be a part of, and it's really, really, really upsetting that we weren't able to do a season 3.
Yeah, I agree. I think as well there were people that had already started planning and moving on to different projects
Yeah.
before it had fully ended.
Hmm.
And so when talks of like, kind of like ending the season here and then starting fresh, people had already kind of like
Yeah.
decided to move on to different projects. They were already doing different things.
Yeah.
And that's completely fine. People have, the right to do that if they if they want to.
Yeah.
But it made it difficult to well, there wasn't as much interest because of that.
Yeah.
People were
Yeah. It's hard to
moving into
really
different directions.
Yeah, it's hard to get that motivation when half of the group have already kind of like, checked out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, I absolutely loved Backyard as well.
Mm.
Very upsetting to see it go. Even I was one of the people as well that, were kind of pushing for a season 3, and there were a few people,
Yeah.
but it wasn't really realistic.
Yeah. Yeah, it didn't
And
feel
maybe at
right
one
to
point
start
will.
another season at that point. It's just like there was already no motivation, and I just felt like, oh, I don't know what's gonna happen. It was so unsure. Then I guess from an owner's perspective, and I've reflected on this so many times, I can't even count. Ridiculous. But there was definitely a lot of things that I personally could have done better. And I know that my attention to Backyard was nowhere near where it should have been. For like when I look at season 1, where all of my content, thinking and power and like ideas were being channeled into the one server, compared to season 2, where I had started developing events, I was running other like, monthly events and learning how to code and putting time into other projects that I loved. Like, don't get me wrong, I absolutely love creating events, but it was like at the back of my head, I was like, I'm not putting in the effort where I want, like, I'm putting it where I want to be, but not where it needs to be, which is in Backyard. And I think that not having my leadership in Backyard didn't support, and it made it, yeah, really difficult for for members to see that Backyard was a priority if I'm doing other things.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was also like a lot of confidence was kind of unsure.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, time is always an issue. None of us are full-time creators, but it does become a problem. Like, for a project as big as Backyard, it's definitely something that
Yeah.
needs a lot of attention.
Yeah, absolutely. I was saying to Ember while we were planning this episode, is that just the other day my girlfriend and I watched The Greatest Showman, and I hadn't seen it before, and I've been told that it was really good. And I was watching it the entire time I was sitting there going, this is exactly what happened. This is 100% what happened to me. And for those that haven't seen it, it's about this guy that makes this like circus thing. And he comes from nothing, and he recruits a bunch of people, and it turns out really, really good, like really successful. And they're doing amazing. Every show gets better and better, and things are like absolutely where it needs to be. And the main guy, he's like, all right, I want to focus on my thinking on this one person and make a really good show about that. And so his attention went off to there, and the circus just started falling apart. And he finished this, I don't know, tour with another person, and he gets back, and there's nothing left. It's gone. It's fallen to bits. And I was sat there, I was going, that's exactly what happened. I was very much my interests were in Backyard, and it went really, really, really well. And then I just put my attention somewhere else, and it just kind of fell apart.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely was something that needs a lot of love and attention. And I mean, the analogy of the Greatest Showman movie, when you first started speaking about it, I was kind of like, oh my god, like analogy to a musical. But then when you explained it, I was like, oh, that does make sense. Like,
yeah,
it's, I mean, it, at least it does show as well, like it happens to a lot of people. Well, not a
yeah.
lot of people, but it does.
It's the
It's a
lesson
dodgy
learned.
thing to
Yeah,
happen. Yeah.
yeah. It is. It's the lesson. The main lesson has been learnt, and it's just unfortunate that there's not really that redemption.
Casualties.
Like
Yeah.
it's already happened, and it's hard to have that redemption when something like this has happened.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hmm.
I would say on a lighthearted note, can't believe you called us a circus though, you know.
I never
The
said that. I would have said that, but I
you
never said
kinda
it.
did.
Kind of. It was a little bit of a circus. Let's be so real.
A bit, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, there's there were definitely a lot of things with the backyard that went very well, and
Hmm.
a lot of things that, well, I guess that kinda made just, like, the fall of it hurt a lot more.
Yeah.
There was a lot of investment into the server,
Yeah.
which made it a bit sadder to let it go.
Yeah. And I think at the end of the day, the hardest part is that it was such a close friend group. Like
Yeah,
not even anything to do with Minecraft. It was such a close friend group, and to have that, like having a high school friend group, and you graduate and people start falling, they don't see each other as much, and it's like,
yeah,
yeah, I know I can go reach out to these people and like say hi and you want to catch up, but it's like, well, when you're not doing it
not
every
see
day, it's just, it doesn't
yeah,
happen.
yeah, absolutely. I was thinking that as well, like, a lot of the people, something would happen and I'd post, like, in our group,
Yeah,
and we'd chat about it with these people, and I there's not the space to do that
yeah,
anymore, which is hard.
yeah. I felt that the other day. It was Christmas, and I'm like, damn, I like, I don't have a space to send a Merry Christmas to,
Yeah,
you know? Yeah,
yeah, there's
yeah.
not a group of people who will
I
wish you a
hope.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Yeah, it's so sad, and I hope somewhere we might we might be able to get a third chance somewhere,
Yeah,
but we'll see. We'll see.
yeah, we'll see. I as a little, like, more lighthearted perspective to finish it off, because we don't want to, or at least I don't know about you, I don't want to live in the sadness of, like, what could have been for backyard,
I
what
know.
could have happened. I don't want to have any resentment to the server,
Yeah.
because although it ended really badly, like, let's be honest, it ended pretty
Yeah.
rough. um there was it started amazingly. There were so many more amazing moments that happened through it,
Hmm.
that I feel the end of it shouldn't be what's looked back
Yeah.
on. What's looked back on is, I at least for me personally, I met loads of people, loads of new friends who I
Yeah.
would never have met in my life. I
Yeah.
went we went to Europe, we traveled to meet, a bunch of people from overseas that we
Yeah.
wouldn't have known existed
We
without the
literally got to go
backyard.
travel Europe for a month because we played in Backyard. Like,
Yeah,
it's crazy to think. And
yeah,
I could never hate Backyard. It's just like, it was
no. What's
so
that?
so nice.
Yeah, what's that cheesy thing of, like, don't cry before because it's over, smile because it happened. We
Yeah.
had
It's
we
literally
had
just
so
like that.
many, yeah, so many things to smile about,
Yeah.
so many experiences that we wouldn't have had. And although it ended roughly, it,
Yeah.
the amount of good things that came out of it,
Yeah.
like, 1,000 times outweighs
Yeah.
the bad that it ended.
Yeah. You ever seen Interstellar?
If I have, it's been a while.
You know the shot where he's like banging on the bookshelf, being like, "Don't do it! Don't do it!"
I don't
Yeah,
know
that's
that,
probably
no.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh well.
Well,
Hopefully one day.
some point in the future.
Yeah.
Well, at least like I don't know. I want to be back in that bond
Yeah.
with all the amazing group of people. So if they're watching this, you know, reach out. Love to chat to all of you guys again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
I
That's
think
probably
so.
all we've got time for.
Yeah.
Bit of a less lighthearted one, but I think at least it's very
Yeah. It's
valuable
super valuable
for
and
people to know.
meaningful for us to kind of put out there, but and other people to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Like SMPs don't often end
Yeah.
well, so it's hard, but I don't see a lot of people talking about it. So I
Yeah.
think showing the demise of a server is more valuable than showing like a successful one.
Yeah. Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
more people can relate to it.
Yeah. Well, this has been BH and
Mchimu.
and we are the M and BH Offline podcast.
That's us.
You can catch us on
See you.
all the streaming.
Yeah.
It's literally just like Spotify and YouTube. You can catch us on Spotify and YouTube. We'll catch you later. Bye.
Bye.